I was alone down in Detroit. It took me a while to compose myself and be able to drive home and then start the journey. If you don't believe in yourself, you have no chance. So you have to be irrationally confident that you are going to succeed, and then all of your blessings will flow from that.
For many people in the world, there is a moment of clarity when you see the world differently than you saw it previously. Those are the moments when we wake up to life. I'm Rabbi Josh Bennett, and this is Waking Up to Life, a podcast about those moments. I am so excited today to welcome my good friend Howard Krugel to the show. Howard is a local Detroit product, a medical school dropout who found his purpose, his meaning in life in the world of sports and entertainment. He worked for many years for Dietz Sports and Entertainment.
That's correct.
And is now devoted his life to his own self-care and all of our spiritual development. Howard, it's so good to have you.
Thanks, Josh. It's so nice to be here, too. And this is my second podcast, so this is a new world for me of podcasting, but I'm fired up.
Well, you better be good today, right? The last one was your practice, and mine is the real one.
Correct. So we'll bring it.
I cannot wait to have people hear the story because you recently have had something happen in your life that has really changed everything about your world, and yet you are the most positive, the most incredibly insightful person with a bad story. So share with the audience what's going on in your life.
So about 2.5 years ago, I was having right hand weakness, and I went to several doctors, hand doctors, orthopedic surgeons, neck doctors, back doctors, and nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. Until I got neurologic testing and they sent me down to Henry Ford Hospital, and I had no idea why I was going there. I just thought I was going to maybe get help and figure out why my right hand was weak and be back on the pickle court playing 4 days a week. And it was the strangest appointment of my life. The doctor, Arcilla, didn't ask me questions. I sat in her office with my clothes off, and she stared at me for like 10 minutes. She didn't ask me to move. She didn't test my strength. I'm like, what are you looking at? And then after 10 minutes, she said, put your clothes back on. I'm going to go talk to my colleagues. I'll be right back. I was alone. I didn't have my wife with me. She came back in the office, and she said, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm 99.5% sure you have ALS. And I said, what? And she said, ALS. And I said, Lou Gehrig's disease? And she said, yes. And the next question was, how long? And she said, I don't want to tell you that, but statistically 3 to 5 years. And then the next question was, how do I tell my wife and my children? And I was alone down in Detroit. It took me a while to compose myself and be able to drive home and then start the journey.
Okay, so we hear what is devastating news to any family, to any person. You are alone. Your wife, Terry, has no idea what's going on. How is it that you make the determination to be positive, to be upbeat, to not allow this to be a burden? Obviously, it is a burden, but
yeah.
How do you transform that moment into the guy who's sitting in front of me right now doing a podcast telling the story?
Well, so for all you listeners, I'm 2 years in now, or just about 2 years from diagnosis, 2.5 years from symptom onset. So I do apologize to everybody if it's now in my mouth and my dictation. So the good thing is I sound like I'm drunk all the time, which is great.
And we haven't had a drink today.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Thank God, because 9 o'clock in the morning. But I don't know the answer to your question, Josh. I was very lucky when I was diagnosed, and then I transferred my care to University of Michigan. Stephen Goutman, who I believe is the husband of one of your rabbis here.
Correct. Married to Rabbi Ariana Gordon.
Yep.
Our education director and one of our clergy.
Perfect. So I've been getting great care, but the first time I went to ALS clinic, and I go every 90 days, I said to him, I am going to be your best ALS patient you've ever had, your most positive, your most upbeat, and I'm going to survive this. And I really believe that with AI and genetic manipulation and the pharmaceutical companies doing what they're doing, they're going to crack the code to what has historically been a death sentence and a 100% terminal disease, and I'm going to find a way to survive.
So what lessons have you learned? What is it that you can share with others in your position, but also families and friends? How do we deal with this?
So I've always, in my life, wondered why I was a happy person. So I wake up every day. I don't need coffee. I don't need to snooze the alarm. I consider my life a light switch, right? When it's time to go to sleep, turn the light switch off, and I'm asleep in 5 minutes. When I open my eyes in the morning, I don't lay in bed. I'm up, and I'm ready to tackle the adventure of life and the adventure of all new days. So I've always kind of been wired that way, and it confused me because I know there's a lot of mental health problems in the world that we live in today, tragically, and those people have a hard time. And then there's really healthy people that are sad and depressed and miserable. And I was never one of those people. I was always happy and energetic and ready to go. So once I got sick, I started thinking, why am I blessed to be that way? Why do I wake up happy every day? And I've come up with what I would say are 5 philosophies that I have that I've developed over my life, and now I've put words to them that allow me to live what I call a honest, happy life. Because sometimes people are happy, but they're faking it. But I think if these are the principles that I've followed, and if other people could integrate these into their life, they might find more happiness.
So before you share the lessons, I want to give people context. I want to tell a story about you that you may not even remember, but it has resonated with me, and it's exactly a lead into this conversation. We went out to lunch a few months ago. You were still playing pickleball. And I must admit, you are a success in almost everything you do. You were a failure in being my pickleball teacher. I'm terrible, and I blame you. Having said that, we went out to lunch. I was asking about your pickleball game. And at that time, you were actually taping your pickleball racket to your hand because your grip strength had lessened. And I thought to myself, this is Howard Krugel, right? I've been diagnosed with ALS, and I'm going to tape my racket so that I can continue to play the game with joy, with love, and by the way, pretty damn good at that time. To me, that stood out as something is different about Howard from other people in the world. So with that introduction, tell us the lessons. What are the 5 lessons?
So first of all, my apologies that you still suck. I will take that personally, and I apologize.
It's my pleasure.
But I can still coach, so if you're interested in getting better, I'm more than willing to spend the time with you. The first of the kind of philosophical tenets is irrational confidence. So I believe that you have to believe in yourself. You have to love yourself, or you have no chance in this world. You have to believe in your talents. You have to believe in your how smart you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, how good an athlete you are, how accomplished your rabbi you can be. If you don't believe in yourself, you have no chance. So you have to be irrationally confident that you are going to succeed, and then all of your blessings will flow from that. And I was a pretty good student growing up. I took it so far as to believe that I would study for exams, and then I would close the book and go to sleep overnight, and I would wake up and take my tests, and the answer would glow for me. So I would read the question, and one of them would be highlighted in my mind, and I would pick that one, and I would move on. And I never went back and reviewed my work or questioned this one or that one. Whatever was the first thing to pop in my mind, that was the right answer, because I was irrationally confident that I knew the material and my brain was directing me to the right answer.
And I think there's scientific evidence about that the first thought that we have is often the right thought, whether it's a test or a decision in life. So that irrational confidence does make sense. I can't quote a scientific study, but I think scientifically that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I raised two beautiful daughters, so as a parent, I saw them go through the SAT and the ACT process. And man, I was trying to clear out the anxiety and the nervousness, because I saw those all as barriers to the irrational confidence coming through. So I tried to tell them the same philosophy. I don't know that it worked, because they were nervous and they had anxiety, and I think those feelings sometimes block performance. So whether it's on the athletic field, you're trying to hit a baseball, you're playing pickleball, you're at the free throw line, you're making a presentation for your business, you really have to be irrationally confident that you're going to kick ass, and here we go.
Amazing. All right, number two.
Number two is came from a Disney movie, Luca, Silencio Bruno, which is the voice in your head that tells you don't do something because you're afraid of it. And so you have to silence the Bruno in your mind. And so this one falls under no fear. I think that you should always have something on your calendar that scares the hell out of you. Mine mostly these days is reading Torah and Haftorah at Sharet Tzedek. So I sign up to when there's no bar mitzvah, and they assign me a Shabbos, and I have to study, and I have to practice, and I have to get up in front of the whole congregation and sing. I can't sing at all, but I'm terrified to do it, but it's on my calendar. It doesn't move. I do it. I'm done. I sign up for the next one. You should always have something that scares you on your calendar, permanently leave it there, and then conquer that fear. And then I think it elevates your experience here in life. If you can stop being afraid of things, you can open up the possibilities for success and greatness.
I'm amazed to hear you say this, because I actually have lived this philosophy in my own life. My first marathon, I literally came home and told my wife, Meg, I'm going to run a marathon. She said, no way. There's no way you're going to run a marathon. I literally just put it on my calendar and said, I'm going to run the marathon. And it is exactly that. You set yourself up for success because you have to perform.
That's right.
You cannot not do the thing that you have committed out loud to doing or put on your calendar to do.
Yeah,
I love that.
You challenge yourself, and fear can be a very debilitating emotion. So if you can find a way to, through breathing techniques and through courage and through mentally conquering your fears, you really can do almost anything you want.
Amazing.
The third came from a speech that I heard Mitch Albom make about 10 years ago, and that is giving is living. The more you give of yourself, the more alive you feel. So some people can give financially to charity and tzedakah. Some people can give spiritually, and they can be a rabbi and they can lead a congregation, or they can be a therapist and they can help people. Some people can give as teachers, right? They teach kids and they elevate them. But whatever you can do to give of your mind and your heart and your resources to the world, the more alive you're going to feel. So you don't give to receive, right? You don't need the kudos, the pats on the back, the attaboys, the thank yous. Just the going through the process of giving of yourself to other people is enough, and it elevates your experience.
Amazing.
So my kids were 5 and 3, or 2.5. Sloan was 5, Orly was 2.5. It was time to learn how to ride big boy bikes. So I took Sloan to the Huntington Woods Rec Center parking lot, little downgrade going west so we could get some speed. I took off her trainers and taught her how to ride her big girl bike. Orly was 2.5 at the time, wanted to do everything her big sister did. She starts freaking out that she wants her training wheels off. I told her, no, you're going to kill yourself. She picked up the wrench. She started literally banging on the training wheels to take them off. She's yelling at me. I said, all right, I'll take them off, but you're going to kill yourself. I don't know how she did it, but boom, she was riding too.
But your act of service in giving your time to your kid actually gave them confidence to have this successful moment in
Yeah,
life.
maybe they have irrational confidence too.
Yeah.
So now Orly's too small to ride a bike. Her feet won't touch the ground. So I have to ride next to her on my bike. At the end of every block, I grab her handlebars, and then I push her off to go because she can't kick off the ground to get the momentum. And now we're biking to the rec center pool, we're biking to the Bayo store, we're biking to the zoo, and the people in the neighborhood see us biking. So my friends started to say to me, how did you do that? Like, I'm having trouble getting my kids to ride a bike. I said, I have no idea, but if you need help, I'm willing to help. Josh, I taught 97 kids how to ride their big girl, big boy bike. And nobody paid me. I didn't charge. People asked, how much does it cost? It didn't cost anything. It was my pleasure to give to all these families and help them. And the smile on the kid's face when they finally get it and you let go and they don't fall was amazing. And the one thing I said to every kid before I started teaching them, I told them how to put their feet on the pedals, right? I wanted them to hold their handlebars tight, but we would not start until they yelled as loudly as they can, Howard's not going to let me fall, right? I knew I had to conquer the fear of getting hurt before they would trust me to allow me to teach them how to ride a bike. And if the kid wouldn't yell, I wouldn't start.
But the key here is that you gave your time and gave of your energy, and that was felt by the people, by the parents who trust you, by the kid who trusts you. But just giving, it's really what you're saying. By giving of yourself, you are actually changing the environment around you.
And I feel more alive. And it was selfish. I taught 97 kids how to ride a bike for me. Selfishly, I got so much more out of it than I think they did. But meanwhile, they're on their way riding a bike, which is something you never lose for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's incredible. The fourth one is guilt-free living.
I know in the Jewish world, cultural Jewish world, there's a lot of guilt. In the world as it is, there's a lot of guilt. And I think guilt is a very destructive human emotion. If you use guilt to get somebody to do something for you, or if you allow yourself to feel guilty so that you now do something out of the negative feelings of guilt, to me, that's dishonest living. And so from my early 20s all the way till now, 56, if I'm ever in a situation where somebody is trying to use guilt, I pull back from the emotion of the situation. I realize the guilt pressure point or pivot point, and I remove it. And I try and make a decision not based on guilt, but based on what is the right thing to do, or sometimes what I want to do. And I deal with the consequences. So if a parent is guilting you into calling them, you never call me. Why don't you call me? That's a dishonest call. You're not going to make that call because the parent is guilting you into making the call. If you want to make the call, make the call. If you don't want to make the call, don't make the call, and deal with either the disappointment that your parent is disappointed with you because you're not in touch enough, or that you're a great son and you're calling all the time. But again, you have to do it honestly on how you feel rather than in response to guilt.
Right. And I think that that's important because we do come from a culture where comedians make fun of Jewish mothers for putting guilt out into the world. And the truth is, it's not healthy.
Correct. Guilt is I would agree it's not healthy. I would also agree, again, going back to honest happiness, it's dishonest. If you have a relationship with someone and guilt is a major component of that relationship, your relationship is flawed and you're living a lie in that relationship because it's not equal communication.
So I'm reminded, we're actually recording this immediately after Yom Kippur, and I'm actually reminded of one of my favorite prayers from our Reform Movement prayer book that says, for sins against one human being against another, the Day of Atonement doesn't atone until we make peace with another person. You're actually adding another layer, which is that we also have to be at peace with ourselves. We have to act with integrity. And all four that you've shared so far are really talking about a life of integrity. And that's outside of what Judaism teaches in this Yom Kippur liturgy, but is so important as we start this new year to be honest and fair to ourselves. And that then resonates into the world around us.
I've never really thought about it that way, but I think you nailed it. That's what this is all about. And again, this all came from me wondering how am I'm sick, I've got a terminal degenerative disease, but I wake up every day positive and excited to tackle the new challenges of my life, and I didn't know why.
Yeah.
Where was that coming from? But maybe you're right. Maybe I was living a genuine life and I was honest with myself, and this is just my attitude through ALS. It's just an extension of that.
Of what you were your whole life, but now it's being put to the test.
Right.
All right, so what's number 5?
And number 5, this one is the fun one, if the others weren't. But why not, right? If the other 4 don't work and you're still faced with having to make a decision that is you're apprehensive or you're a little scared or you're not irrationally confident, why not? Just why not? Go do it. So professionally, part of our company, we do activation at sporting events on behalf of our clients. And one of our clients has a big inflatable, 13-foot high, 8-foot wide inflatable chair. And it looks daunting to get in the chair. Everybody that walks by the chair looks at it and smiles. You can't look at this chair and not think, wow, that looks fun. It's like a bounce house, jumping castle, but a chair. 50% of the people won't get in it. They look at it, it's intimidating to them. They think, how am I going to climb up there? I'm going to fall when I get down. And they smile, and you can see a little glint in their eye, like, boy, that I wish I could tackle all my fears and climb in the chair and take a picture and send it to my grandkids or my best friends, because it's really a photo element. That's where why not comes in. Look at the chair, looks like fun, why not, right? What's going to happen? So give it a try.
So the major sports company, Nike, captured the spirit of this when they created the Just Do It campaign. Howard Krugel's personal spiritual campaign is why not?
Why not?
We need a logo for that also, right? We need the why not logo with your face on it.
Perfect. I don't know that my face would be the best logo, but we'll come up with something. And I use why not pretty often in my life with new foods, right? So I loved tomato sauce. I loved pizza. I loved pasta with tomato sauce. I wouldn't eat a tomato. 2 years ago, I looked at the tomato. I said, why not? I love tomatoes. I wouldn't eat salmon my whole life, right? I would eat lox, but not a cooked piece of salmon. I would eat sushi with salmon in it, but not a cooked piece of salmon. Now salmon's very good for my health. The omega-3 fatty acids in salmon are good for neurologic health. So my wife, Terry, wanted me to start eating salmon. I looked at the salmon. Why not? I love salmon.
But it's also okay even if you don't end up loving it.
It doesn't
right?
have to
You
be
don't
a big
have
thing.
to love getting up in the chair.
Right.
But why not?
Why not?
And it's not really about whether or not you like or dislike something. It's about that experiential attitude that I'm living this life. Why not try something, do something, be something that you can be?
That's right.
So, Howard, everybody listens to this podcast knows that we are at 18 minutes, and we're over 18 minutes now, but it doesn't matter.
I'm sorry.
Because why not?
Right.
And this is an amazing conversation. I am listening to you, and I'm actually personally moved by the messaging of these 5 tenets of your attitudinal shift, or maybe who you have been your entire life. So because we're coming to the end, is there one overarching message that you have learned from this disease, from this experience over these last 2 years, that summarizes all 5? Is there a single message that you can share?
Oh, it's a great question, Josh. No one's asked me that. I think I'm going to go away from these tenets and say that I'm blessed to be sick. The love and support that I have gotten from my friends, from strangers, from the people, my work colleagues, from my family, has really been amazing to me. And I do joke that anyone who's sad and depressed and in their mid-50s in their life and alone should really get ALS, because the world will hug them and squeeze them and love them. And that overarchingly, that has been the blessing of my disease, is to see how much support I have and how loved I am in this world. And it's been amazing. So my ALS has led to gratitude.
To that, I say, amen.
I hear you, brother.
Okay, so because you've listened to the podcast before, you know that at the end of every podcast, I have one last question that I need to ask you. Is there something that right now you are watching on TV, reading an article, a book, a show, a movie that is making you excited that you want to share?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to the Super Bowl this year. So I'm a huge Lions fan. Last year, my brothers and I bought our tickets to go down to New Orleans. this year we're going to make our travel plans to head up to Santa Clara. And as soon as the Lions win the NFC, I'm going to the Super Bowl this year.
From your mouth to God's ears, may that be our blessing. Howard, it is incredible to sit with you. You're an inspiration to me personally. You're a real friend to me. And I think your message is so important for the world. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. Bye-bye, Josh.
So for those of you who are listening, I hope you have been moved today. I hope something that you've heard from Howard will be able to change the way you're living your life. And if you know anybody else that has a story to share that can maybe change somebody else's life, please share this podcast with them. Ask them to reach out to me. All of the details are below, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much for being with me. And until next time, continue to wake up to life.